Buenos dias, good afternoon. This is my solar setup here in Spain, and I've got a bit of a dilemma. I've been learning a lot about solar off-grid the last month. What I've got, which a lot of people will have, is I've got some panels up there that have been there for 15 years. I've got 12 panels, but they're only 125 watts. They've worked really well. They're still working well. Paid to install them. They've got all the rails, and they're all fine. And I recently went from on-grid to this inverter, which is off-grid, and then I need batteries. So the house is completely off-grid now. I'm not reliant on the grid. These things, if they've got no power, it doesn't work. If there's a power cut, even though you've got whatever panels on your roof, you've got no power, which I thought was ridiculous. So I hounded installers, and I said, I want to have a switch where I can divert my panels to my house when we've got a power cut. Oh, I don't know how to do that. You know, I had about 3 installers who just ignored it really. But now I've got it done. So I've diverted my 12 panels on the roof, and I've got my batteries, but I just fancy a bit more power in the morning. So I put 4 more panels with this string here, and I've done it properly. I put it all in plastic tubing outside. It's all clipped to the wall, and I've used automaticos, they're called, or power breakers, like fuses they've used here before. But what I've done is I've disconnected the old string, because it's 300 volts coming down, and my new string of 4 panels is 153 volts, and you can't put in parallel. I've discovered after inquiring and asking, you've got to balance them. If you're going to put you see, this inverter is a 3,500 watt or 3.5 kilowatt. It's only got one MPPT entrance. And if I bought a 6 kilowatt one, which is 700 euros, I'd get 2 entrances, and that would be perfect. But I just don't really need it. And the alternative is to balance these panels. I could buy, if I have 4 more panels, it'll bring it up to 300 volts. As long as it's within 10 or 20%, it seems to be okay. Checking on ChatGPT. But I've been to the wholesaler today, and they don't really know the answer to my question. Will it be all right? It connects, but it says you could do some damage to one string, because if there's more power on one side, it will go into the other side and could damage its wiring, it says. But other people say, no, it should be okay. In fact, I spoke to an installer who told me, yeah, when I only had 2 panels connected and 70 odd volts only, connected it all, and an error came up on the screen of my inverter, quite rightly. So that's the dilemma I've got at the moment. I don't really want more panels at the moment, but it looks like I'm going to have to buy more panels to bring it up. Can I just do it with 6 panels on one side and the 12 low-powered ones on the other side? Or do I really need to buy 4 more panels? The problem for me out here in the countryside is getting them up on the roof, because I'm here on my own, lonely. Just let me show you what I'm talking about here quickly. I'm enjoying all this though, learning. So if I connect, I've learnt, you see you've got 2 black cables coming down there here now. If I said to most people, how do we know which one's positive and which one's negative? Oh, well, I check the panel. Well, the panel is about 50 meters away, and there might be twists and turns in the cable. Anyway, you do this, you put your, turn the light on again, put that in there, that one in there. See, I've got 149 volts there. So if I turn it around the other way, this is how you tell if it's positive or negative. Turn it around the other way. See, it's saying negative 149. You've learnt something today if you didn't know that already. That's how you tell which wire is positive and negative, because we're just using black cable, black 6mm cable. There's a little tip. So that's my other string disconnected, so that's just going to waste, it's just not being used. It doesn't matter if you're not connected solar panels, it doesn't matter, it doesn't hurt them. But what I don't really want to be doing is pushing up 150 volts back up the line to my new panels, which are working really well. But I suppose I went to this place today, I didn't know the answer to that. I checked Chat GPT and it still tells me don't do it. But I've got the feeling it will work. And sometimes Chat GPT isn't quite correct. But I'm keeping this here at the moment if I ever want to turn back the clock and go grid again, or sell it back to the grid, or have another string. I've got a lot of roof space up there. In fact, I've got 1,350 square meters of roof space up there, 2 roofs. So that's my solar update today in September now in 2025. Brilliant, these batteries. These 2.5 kilowatts each. You're better off, I've gathered, from having 2.5 kilowatt than one 5 kilowatt, which might be €100 cheaper for the 5 kilowatt than the 2.5. But the cooling capabilities are better of these, although they never even get warm. No, they never get warm. The only thing that makes a noise is the inverter. It's got a fan. But even, this is a 3.5 kilowatt. I've got my on the grow, 6 kilowatt. But I don't really need it. If I can get these balanced, it'll be all hunky-dory. Live from Spain. Thanks for watching.